Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. Okay, I had so much fun going around the world before with my pocket knives that I thought I would do it again. This is going to be a little different. I'm going to try and hit a few places that I did not hit before. And I'm going to start off with a kind of an interesting one as far as I'm concerned. And that is this one right here. You notice I guess it's a fishing knife. I know one of the blades on it is definitely for fishing or for fly fishing. And it shows you different size hooks on this side, and then on the back side here it has a short ruler that goes for 2.5 inches. The knife itself is probably 3 5/8 inches. Oh, get out the other fish knife. Yeah, right at 3. Well, a little more than that overall. Yeah, about 3.5 to 3 5/8 inches. It's got a flathead screwdriver down here. You got your little clevis here, and you notice there's a little bit of a detail on the clevis, which is pretty cool. You got a corkscrew over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 very tight turns on the corkscrew. That's the only back tool going on there. And then you've got the blades on the inside. You got an old style can opener. You got the main blade, which is just your typical spear blade, and then a pair of scissors. That's why I think this is a fly fishing knife, because it has scissors on there. And then finally, the other blade that definitely says this is a fishing knife is right here, which is the hook remover, and it also has a nail file there. And the interesting thing on here is, if you see there, you finally can find out where it is made. Japan. And the interesting though is the main blade. Stainless steel, foreign. So when you first look at it, you go, where in the world is this knife made at? And you just go, well, it's not made in the United States because it says it's foreign. And you kind of have to look around for a bit before you finally see it. Way over here, Japan, and that is lightly stamped. And I think this is made back in the 1950s or 60s, and knives coming out of Japan coming to the United States were not the most popular knives, and I think that's why they were kind of hiding where it was coming from. So there's my Japanese fly fishing knife. And last time I kind of shortchanged France, and a lot of people have been doing that. They're purposely avoiding open L or up and L, whichever way you want to call it. But this time I'm just going to go ahead and break out one of my more interesting open L knives. And this is the picnic knife. And you notice it's got a a big old corkscrew on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turn corkscrew. And the interesting thing about that corkscrew is it actually has a back spring going, or it has a spring on there some way. So you have a spring to keep that thing in place. Otherwise, you got a really big blade on here with the barrel lock or the ring lock, whichever way you want to call it. So there's my French picnic knife by Opinel, and this is the one with the stainless steel blade. So pretty cool one, and beechwood handle. And then for Spain this time, I think I'll go to Breakout Kudaman. Now, Kudaman is a brand that I learned about maybe a year or two ago, when I decided I was just going to start looking at knives from other countries. And it was a reasonably priced knife and everything, and I really liked it. And I have since bought a couple other Kudaman knives, and we'll be buying a few more because I really do like the knives. They look really good. They're well made. This particular one is one of the ring release ones, so it's a very traditional Spanish style of knife. And I don't know, it really looks good. It also has an olive wood handle, and I really like olive wood, so that's why I picked this one up. And you'll probably see more Kudamans on my channel in the near future too. So there you have Spain, the Kudaman. It was kind of off camera, so we'll move it up here. So now this knife is actually one of the driving forces behind me doing another trip around the world with knives. And this is another knife out of Canada. And this is the knife that I wanted to show in the last video, but it decided to play cracky and go hide on me, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Only to find out that the reason I couldn't find it is because I had put it in a place of honor and had forgotten all about it. This is a knife that was gifted to me. And it is a Groman out of Canada. I see right there. And this is a, I guess it was a second. That's what I was told. And oh yeah, there you see the S on the back for a second. But it's a nice little clip blade, and it's got a nice little serpentine handle going on there. And I don't know why it's a second other than the S on there. Got a nice wood handle. Maybe that right there, could that be the reason it's a second? I don't know. Anyway, really cool knife, and a representative of Canada by Groman. And I think, well, let's move on to another knife. Okay, way over here is a fairly interesting bartender knife out of Sweden, and that is by well, right there is Emile, Emile Olsen, and it's out of Sweden. And you got your typical blades you find on a bartender knife. You got the spear blade. You have a secondary pin blade, and then over here you have, in this case, a screwdriver, which was kind of interesting. You usually have a label cutter, but let's face it, you can cut labels with either of these blades. So I'm not sure why they went the screwdriver, but they did. You see right there, Rostfrei. Like I said, it's out of Sweden. It's got an interesting design on the handle on both sides, but the really cool thing about it is the corkscrew, and I've shown this before. What you do is you turn the corkscrew all the way around, and you got a nice long corkscrew then, and you pull up, and it actually locks in place, and you've got a really long corkscrew to reach into your bottle. And to close it down, just push it back down. Sorry for the shake of the camera there. And then spin it around, and it locks in place. So there's a little bartender knife out of Sweden, which I really do dig. I like bartender knives, so that was a definite cool one because of the way that whole corkscrew works. Okay, so I got two knives here, and two knives in the middle. Let's go with here. A lot of people were showing their MAMs from Portugal, and I got a really interesting little guy here. This is really a friction folder on, but it's got this wee little fork on there, and I'm talking about small. If you notice, the whole length of it is right at 1 3/4 inch, and you see how that they just twisted it and bent it so that it would go into there, and cut the little piece of wood right there so it'll fall down and stick, and it goes right in place there. But just a little fork, I guess, maybe for pulling out your oysters or something like that, or as I always say, just poking the meat and picking it up and eating it. And then on the other side you got a little well, kind of a big blade actually for the size of the knife. And actually, even with this fork in place, this doesn't feel that bad. It's a non-locking knife also, and the blade at 2 1/4 inches makes this thing something you could carry just about anywhere. And it was just dirt cheap. Man, knives are dirt cheap. And so there's my knife out of Portugal, a MAM. This is the only MAM I've got so far, but I keep looking to get more. Now I got a lot of marlin spike knives, and it seems like marlin spike knives really just go with Great Britain. And this is one by Joseph Rogers. You can see it right there. Joseph Rogers, Sheffield, England, stainless. You got the cutout here is for the shackle key, so you can use that to break shackles and stuff. You've got a very aggressive, very big, very heavy to open can opener. And like I've mentioned also with people before, you can also use the can opener as a shackle key in a pinch. And this is really built off of the British Army knives. The only difference is you got the cutout here for the shackle key. So you still have the little screwdriver or pry right in the middle there, and a very hefty marlin spike on the back here. And no, it does not lock, but I tell you what, it is so heavy to pull out that it's just as good as locking. Got a very good strong spring on this. And so there you have another knife out of Great Britain. My Rogers, I think they called this the Yachtsman, but it's a pretty cool knife, especially with the cutout there for the shackle key. Okay, before I go in the middle two here, and both of these are out of Italy, I want to go to these two knives here. And these are actually multi-tools, but they're kind of cool. I think I'm going to start with this one first and then go to this one. Now, this one was made in Japan, but it was made for the United States. You see right there, Zoo Line, and these were monkey wrenches that were actually sold in zoos in the United States, a variety of different zoos. And you see here, this is the monkey wrench. You see his face there, his arm going down here, his tail over here. Actually, that's not his tail, that's the shape for his feet on the ground. See, that's his like leg on the bottom here. But you twist this and you open up the wrench. See his eyeball up there? That's his eyeball. Got an ear back there. And you have a jaw that opens up to about 1/2 inch. So that's how much space you have. So it'll hold up to a nut or a bolt that's about 1/2 inch. If you screw down with it all the way, then the tool below it will not open up. So you got to close it all the way up to open the tool below it, which is, it looks like it's all bent and crooked, but that is actually the way it sits in there. And that is the Phillips screwdriver. When you pull it out, you notice it's pretty straight and kind of well, I'm sure a lot of 12-year-old boys had a lot of fun making fun of the screwdriver on the monkey. Anyway, so you got a screwdriver, a Phillips driver there, and then this blade here, as you can tell, works as your flathead screwdriver, a nail file, and a bottle opener. And then finally, the last blade you have on it is a nice old Spearmaster blade. And you see the spot right there, and that's because this is actually a chrome plating over the carbon steel blade. And you see this was made in Japan. So this is my second knife made in Japan in this tour, but this is really an interesting thing. This was definitely made for the U.S. market, just like this was made for the U.S. market, and that's what was happening. And it was all part of the plan to get Japan's economy up and running again. They started making products after World War II for sale in the United States. We were buying the stuff, Japan was making it, and they were making it at a lower price. I guess that was, when you think about it, might have been hurting U.S. industry, but we needed to get Japan up and running, just like we needed to get Germany up and running after World War II, so that things would not go south again. And then finally, this one here, I've shown this one before, but this is just so cool. And this is out of British Hong Kong. So this is made in Hong Kong. It has both patents for Britain and the United States. And what it is also a type of multi-tool. You see right here, this is where you insert some things. But if you open it up, you have a knife blade here with a fish scaler. Here's the knife blade. Up in front here, this actually has a can opener as well as just a knife blade. And then you've got your bottle opener back here. So can opener, cutting edge, fish scaler, bottle opener. And what you do is you slip it right into here. And there's your handle for this really funky looking knife blade. And if you need to unscrew things, you put your blade back in here, and you have a Phillips driver that goes right in just like so. So you can use a Phillips driver or a flathead screwdriver. So I don't know why this didn't catch on. It was just so ingenious, but pretty cool. And you see that there are slots on either side here that you just drop the screwdriver heads, or the barrels of the screwdriver back into there, and so they'll stay inside the container. I'm going to pause for a second and put them back in there. Okay, so there you see the two screwdriver heads back into there, and then you drop this in here, and you got a neat little package with your pretty interesting multi-tool out of Hong Kong. And I'm going to finish up the tour with a couple knives out of Mercury, because I learned about Mercury about 6 or 7 years ago, and I really liked it. This is an olive wood mushroom knife. So you've got a nice little hawkbill blade going on here. And I've mentioned this before, this is not really jimping. This is, the blade is done this way so that you can knock dirt off of the back of you use this like this to scrape dirt off of your mushrooms and stuff. This one also has tweezers, so you can remove splinters and stuff if you happen to pick up a few in the process. And very wide grip on these tweezers, really good tweezers. And then you got your boar's hair brush down here at the end. So, but otherwise, it's your basic mushroom knife. And like I said, this is Mercury out of Italy. And this is a little more expensive than most of my other mushroom knives, but it is probably my favorite mushroom knife. Matter of fact, I know it's my favorite mushroom knife. And then the final knife for this world tour, we're going to just stay in Italy here. Another knife by Mercury. This is kind of like a Swiss Army knockoff, but it's got nice, genuine elk horn handles. You've got your cap lifter screwdriver on this side. You have the safety can opener here. You have the corkscrew there, and then the punch with the sewing eye here, and then your main blade. And you see right there, Mercury, Inox, Italy. And then finally, the really cool blade that you have, the last one you have here, is a fork. So pretty cool. And I've mentioned this a number of times. With a fork like this, these are really an interesting thing to have with you, not only as an eating utensil, but they also help that if you end up getting like a tick in your skin or something, you can actually press down on either side of the tick and press out, so to pull the tick out of your hand or wherever the tick happens to be. So you get it in between the tines and you just squeeze and pop the tick off. So one way to remove a tick is by using the fork on your picnic knives and such. But in any case, this one's also by Mercury out of Italy, and Mercury is one of my favorite Italian knife companies. So there you go. There's another trip around the world. Hope you enjoyed it. My next trip around the world is going to feature fixed blades from around the world. Let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with the Pious. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.